Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Ahsoka Episode 3, Part 3, Time to Fly, directed by Steph Green, written by Dave Filoni. In this episode, Ahsoka and Sabine head off to track down the ship from last episode. So this first part will be non-spoiler, so you can stick around. We have the Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, Natasha Liu Bordiso as Sabine Wren. We also have Diana Lee Inosanto as Morgan Elspeth. We have Ivana Sakno as Shin Hati, Ray Stevenson as Balin Skoll, David Tennant as Hu Yang, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera Syndulla. So this was a really quiet episode until it wasn't quiet. Um, I think I think longtime fans of the series will enjoy the surprises that are brought in. Um, some of the mythology that keeps being built. There's a few callbacks to not just Rebels, but like a lot of the stuff in Star Wars. What makes Star Wars like feel like Star Wars? I will say the show continues to feel. Sometimes it feels like I don't know the quality doesn't feel like Star Wars, and I'm just talking about the look. Sometimes it looks cheesy, but I feel like that's also part of what makes Star Wars, right? Sometimes things look a little off. Um, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Like overall, it doesn't bother me or anything. But it is a weird thing. Like whenever we have an outside shot or a larger stage, it feels like everything feels very grand. But whenever we have a more slower sequence, something a little bit smaller, that really calls back to the look and the feel of the original films. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if everything here is being done with that purpose. Um, and like I said, I think in this episode we get enough information where we can probably see what the larger story is going to be. Uh, and I think I also feel like we're gonna get one episode where it's gonna be like a flashback. I imagine that might be the fifth episode where we get like some flashback sequences to kind of inform the present storyline. But yeah, the plans are very clear. Whatever these bad guys are doing. Now, I guess what we'll say, one of my, I guess I will call it gripes with this episode is that we didn't get to see a lot of the bad guys, and I really have like they're really cool. Like Ivana Sagno as Sheen and Ray Stevenson as Balin. Like they're really cool, and we don't get a lot of that. We don't get a lot of them. We also follow up a little bit on this other character that we introduced last episode, but still not a lot of questions have been answered. So it's an interesting balance that I think the show's trying to strike between giving us enough story, providing you enough callbacks and things like that make it feel like not just Rebels but Star Wars as a whole. The performances I think are great, specifically um, Sabine. Like in some of the sequences, and I'll go more into detail with spoilers, but she reminds me of Mark Hamill's performance, especially specifically in the second film. So I don't know. I think it just really felt like that to me. Probably a lot has to do with what's going on in the show as well. We continue to explore the relationship between Ahsoka and Sabine as it kind of builds. I will say, I think Hu Yang is such an important part of the show. I'm so glad he's part of this. He's really funny because of he's a droid, so he's programmed right. He doesn't have all the nuances sometimes to like sugarcoat things or and that stuff can be really funny. So yeah, he's a great addition to the group that I'm glad to see back for this show. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. I will say this was a pretty quick episode, about 30 minutes if you exclude all the 6 minutes of credits you get at the end. So, but yeah, there you have it. So, and I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So, if you haven't seen the episode, go check it out. Let me go kind of through the paces, and we'll talk about a few of those things. So, Sabine, we have a nice training sequence with Ahsoka, where they do a little bit of sword training and a little bit of blindfolded training. Some really cool stuff. Very reminiscent of Luke training in the ship. That was really fun to kind of go back and see. Also, reminiscent of the things we saw in Rebels with Ezra and Kanan's training. Like, just I love a good training scene with Jedi. Like, that's always fun. I think Sabine's very frustrated because of her lack of success with using the Force. But Hu Yang does, like, that's what really I like, that he doesn't sugarcoat any of this stuff. He just kind of tells it like it is. So they continue to go on. That we do see the frustration. We also see Hera and Mon Mothma get, like, we get an update from Mon Mothma and Hera. I guess one thing that always, it makes sense, kind of like when you see it in the long term, like this New Republic, they are so dumb. Like, just because of all the politics, it's just very dumb, and you can see how this all kind of led to their downfall eventually, and the rise to the First Order or whatever. So uh, you know, so we continue following Sabine and Ahsoka and Huyang as they're tracking the ship. They're ambushed by some of the other characters that we've met, which we kind of see Marok again. That's the Inquisitor-like character. I don't know that it's been confirmed. If it's been confirmed, let me down in the comments. I don't want to Google Marok because I don't want any spoilers in case that this is a character that people already kind of know about, but I'm not, I don't know about it. I only want to know what the show tells me about the character. Um, and then we get this very interesting sequence of, like, Ahsoka fighting in space. Like, she is actually jumping around on top of the ship, trying to take distract these other ships. It's pretty funny because the it's easy to tell which of the ships were going to be blown up because they were piloted by non-named characters. I think that's also a very funny aspect of, like, things like Star Wars and stuff like that, where I know which ships are going to blow up, the ones that don't have the characters that I'm following along. So we go past this ring. We get so we know now what this ring is, and I think that's kind of where the story is really telling us. But the clue that we get there is that we get to see those star whales again that we saw in Rebels. Now, I feel like if you haven't seen Rebels, you're going to be very confused, and I'm very sorry about that. Hopefully, the show did a little bit enough of a lift to clue you in on what's going on. They do talk about it. They do have some exposition dialogue in regards to the whales. But I mean, as somebody that has seen Rebels, that was really fun. So, so Skull orders the rest of his people to kind of go hunt the Jedi, since they're kind of stranded in this forest at the moment. But we now know, after Hu Yang's scan, that this is like a large hyperspace ring that they're building in order to be able to travel to a different galaxy, which the Jedi text explained that these whales have paths that they can travel through. So it's all kind of connected. Definitely feels like the goal is to go to this other galaxy and probably get Thrawn. So we'll see what happens there. Um, I I have a suspicion that we are not, like, that this show will end with Thrawn being back in power, even at the cost of some of the other minor characters, or some of the other characters, not minor, but some of the other more characters, some of the other characters that we've seen from this season. I feel like they're gonna pay the price to bring Thrawn back. So, but I don't think we're gonna get to see a full, like, I think Thrawn's gonna be saved for whatever project is next, which is might be a little frustrating. So we'll see. That's just based on the pacing of the show. That's just my supposition, because I'm also factoring in that we're gonna get a um, a flashback episode. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of the show so far. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Uh, Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone, and may the force be with you. Bye bye.